Deep in the shadows, I know it's hard to put one foot in front of the other.
Hi guys, CeeChronicles here, back again with another fragrance video. I hope you guys are having so much fun wherever you are, if you of course celebrate Christmas. Now welcome to today's video. If you're joining this channel for the very first time, I post fragrance related content on this platform and would very much appreciate it if you did consider subscribing. And to those who are returning, thank you so much for the continued support. Do also check out my second channel, CeeChronicles Unscripted. I'm going to leave it in the description box where you can go there guys and possibly subscribe if you feel you enjoy that type of content, my life outside fragrance reviews. Now today's video is going to be about Maison Alhambra 2023 releases in a retrospect. So these are fragrances that I bought from Maison Alhambra, released in the year 2023, and I'm just going to give you a recap guys, so that the video doesn't last an eternity. Maison Alhambra is a house that keeps on making fragrances, so I'm not going to have a gazillion here. I just have 14 or 15 to talk about. So I'm going to tell you my thoughts, probably rate them, and tell you which ones were hits and which ones were misses. So the first one is Precious Gold. Precious Gold draws its inspiration, guys, from Marc Jacobs Perfect Intense. And you can see from the bottle, they even, went ahead and put some pendants there because Perfect Intense in itself has got like a banana, like a high-heeled shoe there, a bow with polka dots and stuff. Now this fragrance, guys, is a nutty, almondy, borderline creamy scent to my nose. I haven't done a full review of this fragrance, but what I can say about it is, first impressions when I sprayed it, I then heard your voices come back to my head when I reviewed Yara, and you kept on saying, oh, Yara is inspired by Marc Jacobs Perfect Intense, and I was saying no, because my particular Yara, guys, was spoiled. It is a spoiled batch, and I believe that more so that I have this particular one, because Precious Gold from Maison Alhambra does smell like Marc Jacobs Perfect Intense, and it does have a little bit of resemblance to Yara. So you guys were right. This is a good fragrance, guys, as long as you like warm, creamy scents. To me, it's a bit screechy though. Maybe it's because I've got that mental shortcut of the Yara and how that one didn't work for me. I do get traces of Yara in this one, but yes, it does nail the Marc Jacobs Intense, Perfect Intense style of DNA, but there is something here that is a borderline too much, even leaning on heady to an extent. Good thing about it is, if you love that nutty, almondy, type of profile, if you love Marc Jacobs Perfect Intense, this one's going to do it for you. Lasting power for this one is great. I sprayed this one, guys, on my arm and on the curtains, and this thing was going for about 8 to 10 hours straight. It also gives me a genderless DNA, so this is going to be unisex. Do take note that they have another basic one, just the Precious Gold in a lighter box. That one is inspired by the basic Marc Jacobs Perfect, not the Intense. And I would rate this one an 8 out of 10 if you love the profile, right? Because it is long lasting and all that. But I personally am finding it a little bit screechy there. But I thought to clue you up on this. So the second Maison Alhambra release is going to be Modern Musk, guys, and this one draws its inspiration from Alexandra J Fragrances Morning Musk. This is a fragrance, guys, if you are still on the hunt to gift fragrances or to purchase fragrances for gifts this festive season, would do for a mature female. This is a musk that does not need layering. It's a floral musk there, powdery, soapy to an extent, but very rosy. It is a musk that has a lot of depth in it, right? So for that reason, it does last a very good while, almost green toned to an extent. So if you purchase this expecting it to just be a powdery, sort of like soapy profile alone, this one has got that heady floral in it. So if you love that, that's going to work for you. This, after maceration, now that I've had it in my collection for a very long time, is a fragrance, guys, that can potentially stretch up to 8 or 9 hours on 10 to 12 sprays. So if you love that, you're gonna love this. I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10 for nailing what it was going for, but not a bad profile at all. It's called Modern Musk, guys, and it's sitting on our number 2. Panther is the third one on the list that I added this year. Now, Panther draws its inspiration, at least to my nose, from Parker Ruban's Phantom. There have been other sites that have said this one smells like something else, but I tried Phantom in store and I tried this, and to my nose they kind of draw this one draws inspiration from that to an extent. Okay, this is an aromatic, spicy toned fragrance. They're fresh, sweet, masculine. This screams masculine, but if you're a woman and you love those masculine toned fragrances, then it's going to do it for you. But I just had to put it out there that this just aligns with that DNA that is outright masculine, guys. But it also has a little bit of a bubblegum accord in it there that could possibly make it wearable, you know, as a woman. Projects for about an hour or so, but then has like a little creamy weight to it that makes it tone down pretty quickly there, making it stretch up to 5 or 6 hours, somewhere thereabouts. So if you don't mind reapplying, this one is not bad at all. I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10 just based on the performance. It is called Panther, guys, and it's sitting on our number 3. The fourth one on the lineup, guys, is going to be Oasis. Oasis is a new addition to my collection, and I did feature this one in a cluster of fragrances where I was showing you fragrances, guys, that draw inspiration from the Tiziana Terenzi fragrances. And I did say, guys, that this one is inspired by Oza. So if you're looking for a fragrance that's going to smell like Oza or draws inspiration from Oza, then this one's going to do it for you. However, make sure you like sweet fragrances, peachy especially. There is a caramel sweetness to this, very sweet. So do expect like a toffee, like even sticky sweet accord to this, pairing with the vanilla, so that just even makes it worse. So this is definitely a fragrance that's gonna tick the boxes for those who like very sweet fragrances there, but very fruity fragrances as well. Summer appropriate, this one. Also fun, so it's a mood lifter of a fragrance, if I may add, right? The only con to this fragrance is it might not come across as special to your nose, especially if you have used Tiziana Terenzi's Kirke, right, which has been also cloned by the same house, and theirs is called Karat. Okay, they have cloned that one, is called Karat. There's just a couple of twists between the two, right? Maybe this one needing more peachy and stuff like that, but I'm just cluing you up there that this might not wow you if you have got Karat, or if you are not able to kind of distinguish the differences there. However, it is a very long lasting fragrance, this one, guys, lasting till the next wash. I had said that on my skin it was going for 3-4 hours, but after I actually did really you know, wear it as my scent of the day, I could smell this one until the next day. So it's a compliment getter, great for a youthful person, anybody who loves very sweet fragrances there. Leans more feminine than it does masculine because of the sweetness. This I'm going to give a 10 out of 10 because of its lasting power. You get to smell the realistic peach there and all the other beautiful, enjoyable fruit notes. This one's called Oasis, guys, drawing its inspiration from Oza, and it's sitting on our number 4. The fifth one on the lineup, guys, is So Candid, drawing its inspiration from So Scandal by Jean-Paul Gaultier. Now, this is a fragrance that I have given I've been revisiting and revisiting, hoping that it's going to change. I just still keep getting that tutti fruity type of mix from this fragrance, guys. It is built around creamy white florals. There is milk as a separate note in this fragrance that builds this fragrance. So you're going to have like a lactonic, almost like a milky backdrop to this fragrance, but there is a prominent feel of a raspberry or, you know, a sparkling fruit amidst everything that's going on in here. Also expect some tuberose and some jasmine, or shall I say just white florals. Great profile overall, bubblegum leaning, feminine leaning, youthful there. Age cap, I'm going to say, even a 10-year-old is probably going to love this. It's not a juvenile scent, but it just has that fun tutti fruity thing that can make it relatable, you know, to anybody, even very, very young, to the oldest person there. I'm just going to give this one, guys, a 5 out of 10, simply because it still lacks in lasting power. It does perform like a body mist to me. It does nail the profile, but fails to hold its own. So that is the only reason why I have rated this one, you know, so low. So this one's called So Candid, guys, feminine to my nose, and it's sitting on number 5. On 6th position, guys, is going to be Summer Forever, a fragrance I dropped a review of, I'd say a day or two ago, guys. You guys did say that this is so annoying, the way the glitter just goes all over the place. Yeah, it is a gorgeous looking bottle, but they didn't do due diligence there when it came to sticking the glitter, because the glitter tends to just, you know, go all over. So you guys have voted, or at least most of the people in the comment section did vote, that this one reminds them a lot of Berry's Weekend by Fragrance World. Now, I have never smelled that fragrance, guys, but I'm not here to say no or yes, because this to me is just a profile that is very crowd pleasing. Oh, and by the way, Berry's Weekend, if I'm not mistaken, is supposed to draw its inspiration from My Burberry Weekend or something like that. I stand to be corrected. So if that's what you get, guys, I'm gonna say yes, that's a lead too for those who wanted to know what this fragrance is in line with. However, in itself, it's a sweet, fruity summer feminine profile there, kind of femme fatale to my nose, right? Marketed or passed off as drawing inspiration from Xerjoff's Muse, but I did say that after putting my nose on Xerjoff Muse, this one lacks the depth. Okay, this one lacks the leather note. It doesn't have that oody tone to it. What I get instead is a rose and a lychee kind of affair, maybe even plum and a tropical tone to this fragrance. Actually, after wearing it for the entire day, it started giving me wafts of something I felt like Labelle to an extent. I'm not saying it smells like that, guys, but I'm just saying this is a profile that's gonna smell like a lot of fragrances on the market. I passed it off as a fragrance in the same family as Paris Hilton's Rose Rush, because that is what I get, guys, and the glitter of the bottle kind of made me think that maybe that is what they were going for. But the DNA, if that has confused you, simply put, is a crowd-pleasing DNA, sweet, fruity there, and I love how it smells, but it's still new in my collection. The DNA seems to be promising to thicken, so because of that, I'm just going to take my chance and say 7 out of 10. They did a good job on this one, guys. However, it does lean very feminine. They're very fruity and very summer leaning. It is called Summer Forever, guys, and it's sitting on our number 6. Gusta is the 7th one on the lineup, drawing its inspiration, guys, from Tiziana Terenzi's Gumin. Now, if you're looking for a fruity, floral, woody scent, this one is going to do it for you. There is a very, very faint oud in this, very faint. To an extent, I would say go ahead and buy it, even if you don't like oud, because the oud here is barely there, okay? And then now that it has set a little bit in my collection, it is kind of like bringing up a pineapple that is almost metallic toned, and a very fresh weight to this fragrance, guys, and wafts of like a sappy birch nuance, right? So this is one that's pretty difficult to describe, but I can almost say if you love fresh fragrances that are not common, then it's going to do it for you. I give this one a 10 out of 10, guys, because this is a profile that is daring, that they went for and managed to nail. I'm going to put this one at about 6-7 hours stretching it, but I'm simply giving this one a 10 out of 10 because it is a complex profile, though fresh, that they tried their hands on and they absolutely nailed. This one is unisex. Some women might find this one leaning maybe 65% masculine, but I get a unisex toned fragrance in this one. It's called Gusta and it's sitting on our number 7. Alive now is the 8th one on the lineup. Now, this is a fragrance I haven't used much, guys, because in as much as it's a very thick, fruity fragrance, it sits on a very woody base. And to my nose, it's perfection in the sense that it does interpret Angel Nova very well. But it is also the reason why I possibly would not buy Angel Nova, the real thing, myself, because it is very sweet there, with the raspberry and the lychee doing the most. But the raspberry and that lychee sits on a very syrupy, sweet base, and then a masculine woody tone to it. So it starts off very juicy and very realistic, you know, like a very realistic, juicy raspberry punch there. And then the woods take a twist and give this one like a very masculine tone to it, to an extent that if you love fruity fragrances as a man, then you're gonna love this, because it does align with masculine toned fragrances right there in the end. But it is that confusing clash to me there, where mental shortcut, I'm just saying you should have just stayed sweet, but there you go. Now you're going woodsy, now you're going, you know, that sort of thing. So that is what I get from this, guys, a masculine toned, very sweet, fruity fragrance there, which I'm gonna say the dry down of it is actually about 75% masculine, although it starts off as a very loud Sweet Berry Blast there. For what it is, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 because performance-wise, it lasts till the next wash and it nails what it's going for. So I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 for that. But it is a fragrance that you've got to love, a very sweet fragrance for you to appreciate. It is alive now, drawing its inspiration from Angel Nova, and it's sitting on number 8. The 9th release of 2023, and this one is fairly new, guys, from the house of Maison Alhambra, is Montaine Coco. Now, we haven't had a full review of this one. It's going to come in due course. This, to my nose, I think, but don't quote me, because I feel it is a profile that needs to sit a little before it actually starts to shine and show what it is. I can say outright, it does have that cocoa note. So there's going to be a coconut in this. It does feel very creamy as well. I am getting wafts of an attempt at Kiali's Utopia Vanilla Cocoa. An attempt because it lacks the depth, but it's definitely not Intense Cafe. So I'm just going to leave this one at this, and then of course revisit it because it's sitting on a vanilla base. So it's most likely one of those that need to sit a little before they start to communicate. It's called Montaine Coco. We're not going to rate this one, honestly, because it would be unfair. I'm just going to leave it at that, guys. But the profile in itself gives me 70% feminine leaning. If you love coconut-based fragrances, you're going to love this one, guys. And it's sitting on our number 9. 10th on the lineup is Infini Elixir, a fragrance that has nothing to do with Initio's Atomic Rose. In case you've been seeing the bottle and you've been hesitant, this one actually draws its inspiration from Initio's Side Effects. So if you love warm, spicy cinnamon fragrances built around the rum note, that is what you're going to get from this one, guys. This, I'm going to give a 10 out of 10 outright as one of their best releases of 2023 because they went for a complex DNA and then they nailed it. All right, this has got tobacco, it's got I think a little bit of leather there sitting on a boozy, waxy background. Quite complex to describe as well, but very niche-y in presentation there. By niche, I'm simply saying it just gives artistry in perfumery. It only falls flat a little bit there in terms of lasting power because this one gives me about 6 to 7 hours, but it is a profile that just feels as though it was meant to be like that, to be almost like an intimate profile because it doesn't have that, you know, massive projection. So it tends to be one that the wearer enjoys. If you want something different from Maison Alhambra, if you want something unique, you can add this one to your collection. The rum note in here though is boozy, does not come across as, you know, where you drinking alcohol type of situation. No, it just is like a waxy rum note there that sits there on a woody bed together with a lot of spices, but especially cinnamon popping and coming there to the surface. It's called Infini Elixir, guys, drawing its inspiration from Initio's Side Effects, and it's sitting on our number 10. Glassier takes 11th position. Now, I have almost finished my bottle, guys, simply because this one is one that is a gorgeous, fruity, sweet, pear-based fragrance, drawing its inspiration, obviously, from Jean-Paul Gaultier's La Belle. Yeah, La Belle. And the Intense one, I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10 because they dared to go for the intense in terms of presentation, but gave us something that does not have that intense capacity. It has macerated because I've had this one almost 9 months now, so it has absolutely macerated, but it is a fragrance that is so enjoyable. Just to me, it has the sticky sweetness in the opening, but then it starts to kind of dry down, introducing like a powdery tone to it there, a floral tone to it there, but the pear holds on from start to finish. So I'm just underrating this one, guys, based on performance, but this does not have the lasting power that I hoped it would have. And for that reason, you know, this is why I have finished mine, guys. Feminine leaning to the nose. If you want a whiff of the La Belle DNA, then you can absolutely purchase this. It's Glassier by Maison Alhambra, and it's the 11th one on this lineup. Kissm For Women takes position number 12. Now, Kissm For Women may not be a 2023 release, but it was a 2023 edition in my collection. Because what happened with this fragrance, whether they put it out there and then took it off and then had to re-bring it, I don't know, because they introduced both Kissm For Men and For Women at the same time, but this was one that was very hard to find, drawing its inspiration from Kilian's Good Girl Gone Bad. Now, before you rush and purchase this based off the fact that it is a fragrance that draws inspiration from Kilian, let me just caution you, this is not blind buy safe. It's going to come across as a white and yellow floral mixed there. It's going to give you a hint or hints of a sour bitter tone to it, a bit of a limey green spicy tone to it, as well as soapy, which can be something that some people may find weird, okay? And that is not because they missed the mark. It is just because that is how Good Girl Gone Bad's DNA smells like, right? It is a fragrance that is quite complex there. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10 because the performance is average. The longer it sits, the better it gets, but the performance doesn't stretch it. It just adds like 2 more hours. And this one says for women, but the profile can be worn by men as well because it has that underlying green sour tone to it, guys. And it's sitting on our number 12. 13th on the lineup, guys, is the Shant, drawing its inspiration from Gucci's a Shant for the Nif. And that is of their private line. Now, this unfortunately did not take off. I have seen very few, if any, reviews of this one. So I actually quit talking about it because there are some fragrances that just don't make it for some reason. And I think this is one that did not make it from the Maison Alhambra line. They actually cloned almost all of them, almost all the private lines from the Gucci, but people didn't seem so keen on those based on just the internet hype, if you will. Now, this is a yellow floral forward fragrance, putting the shine there on Ylang Ylang and Frangipani, especially the Ylang Ylang and the Frangipani mix there kind of makes this one a little bit lactonic, like a creamy tone to it, which is something that like Ylang Ylang can do. And then there is an underlying woody tone to this fragrance, guys. You love that type of fragrance, that type of tone fragrance, like a creamy tuberous tone or even like a banana-y tone that you get from Ylang Ylang, then this is gonna do it for you guys. But I can see why maybe it wasn't a favorite for many, because it is one of those DNAs that it's either you love or you don't, but it screams tropical. I'm gonna give this one, guys, a 6 out of 10 because it does not have decent lasting power. This is unisex to my nose. Anybody can totally wear this, and it's called the Shant, and it's sitting on our number 13. Now, the last one on the lineup, guys, is going to be Suede Intense. Do take note that I did say that these are the ones I added to my collection. There's obviously tens and tens more because Maison Alhambra is always making fragrances, and there's no way I could have gotten my hands on all of them. I'm just, bringing the ones I bought in 2023 and talking about them in retrospect and giving you like a summary of which ones did it for me and which ones did not. So this is going to be the last one, Suede Intense, drawing its inspiration from Guerlain's Cure Intense. This is a fragrance that is built around a very light leather, light woods, light tobacco. If you see the note pyramid, it suggests a very strong polarizing concoction, but this does not interpret to that. It interprets to the diluted tone of all those, strong or purported notes that are supposed to be strong, like the leather, like the tobacco, like the woods. They just come across as very soft there. So that is what you get that in here, guys, sitting amidst a fruity background that feels a lot like raspberry and of course some yellow florals in this. This, guys, gives me unisex to my nose, absolute unisex, 50-50 there. You can blind by this one. It's not going to shock you. In as much as it says intense, it doesn't come across as an intense fragrance to me, and for that I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. But it is a little bit unique there, a little bit different, but it's gonna have that twist where if you buy this wanting the leather and the tobacco, it might not actually satisfy you that much. However, if you buy it expecting like a twist, like a flip there, where it introduces a fruit amidst the yellow florals and the tobacco and all the other notes, then it's gonna do it for you guys. It's called Suede Intense, drawing its inspiration from Cure Intense by Guerlain, and it's sitting on our number 14. So that's a wrap, guys. Those are some of the 2023 releases from Maison Alhambra in retrospect. I had to give you my thoughts and conclusions since we are wrapping up this year. I started with the Maison Alhambra video, but we are going to bring some of the other houses here like Paris Corner, of course, Lattafa. We're going to bring Fragrance World and our stuff and all that, just to wrap up the ones I managed to pick this year. Which ones did it, which ones did not do it for me, which ones made the cut, and which ones didn't. CeeChronicles is my name. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's meet in the comment section, guys, where we obviously discuss more about fragrances. While you're at it, remember to check out my second channel, CeeChronicles Unscripted. Kindly subscribe there as well and help that channel grow. Do turn on post notifications on both channels. And remember, guys, that smelling good is a form of good manners. Cheers.